The first plate I want to talk about is the Harmonizer. This basically is creating harmony between two people or even with groups. See, what happens when people don't quite match in frequency, they don't get each other. There's misunderstanding. They can't communicate, things are blocked. I found that many problems can be solved between people simply by putting them in the same resonance so they understand each other. That's what this chart does. You put the name of one person in one box, the name of the other person in the other box. They then get each other. They understand. There's a free flow of communication, and the problems go away. That harmonizes relationships of all kinds. Another commonly used one, the one put out, is the DNA guard. A lot of people have damaged DNA for many reasons these days, from radiation, from MMR vaccines, and from mRNA vaccines, other various implants going around, which are affecting people's DNA, affecting their health, as well as hereditary problems coming in, many problems from toxins. This chart is designed to repair the DNA. It's easy to do, actually, because it's done energetically. A lot of people think DNA is actually the root of everything, and if you change that, then you're stuck, basically. But actually, DNA is changed by consciousness. It's found, for instance, when scientists study DNA, they have to leave the room because their thoughts are changing all the time. So what I've created here is energy patterns based on the Sri Yantra, which is based on Hindu mythology, as well as various plants and crystals and things, to create the perfect resonant pattern that creates DNA. There's three little boxes. You can put three names in one chart. So you can use these to do the whole family. And basically, it corrects the DNA, puts it right, repairs the damage, and gets rid of these negative effects from the vaccines and so on. So this is a common one a lot of people need these days if you want to look after your DNA. Now, a very popular one is the manifestation machine. See, we're all aware these days that we create our own reality and we can actually use visualization to build our dreams. But a lot of people don't have the patience for it. So they forget to do it each day, they forget to actually follow through, and then simply not getting on with creating a reality. This manifestation machine is made to take all the hard work out of it. When you touch the central button, basically, whatever you're thinking is held by the plate, amplified, and put out 24/7. So I visualize something. Well, first of all, make sure your mind is very clear, because it is your thought that is going to be amplified. So I'd take a moment to clear your mind, focus exactly what you want to be positive. You only have to hold it for a few seconds while you touch that button. The plate picks it up and puts it out 24/7. Add to that, we've got two more talismans to either side of it. One is for removing blockages, and one is a road opener spell. Both of these are actually made to actually clear the way so that thing can manifest. It makes it much easier. You only have to do this once, leave it in working, and what you want will manifest. Takes all the hard work out of it, and everybody can manifest their dreams. I now want to talk about my healing kit. This is a very special one. This is more for professional healers, especially when you want to do distant healing, because you can do so many things on it. As you can see, there's many buttons, and there's so many things you can do. So I want to talk about how it works. First of all, in the center, we have the target boxes. Now, there are 7 of those, which means you can actually work on 7 people at once if you want to. Once the third person is set in, you can actually then use all these different buttons to perform different operations. So first one, the clear orb, is basically a cleanser. That one, when you send it out, lasts about 20 minutes, and it's a powerful cleansing program which removes all negative energies from aura. Any negative thought forms are picked up, and negative intentions, curses, entities. It gives it all a very thorough cleanse. Then we have the healing button, which works very much like the healing plate I showed you, but it's actually more self-sufficient in itself. You touch that, and the person goes to a full healing of all the chakras, all the meridians. It cleanses the aura, strengthens it, so negative forces can't get in, raises the vibration and the basic level of life force. So on the whole, they feel pretty well healed, although it's not exactly specific. It's a good boost of energy as part of the healing. We then have a tie cutting button. When you touch that, it starts cutting acropods from that person, whatever karmic ties they have. You can be specific. If you think of what people are draining that person, when you touch it, it'll work on those. Otherwise, it'll just work on generally on any cords that are unhealthy. There's a soul retrieval talisman, which not only achieves the soul, but also achieves lost energy or power. So if a person seems empty or drained, and you touch that button, the power comes back, the soul comes back. It might take an hour or so because the servitors are working on it. The idea is that you set this up and it works for about an hour as a full healing session. We have the Exorcism button, or the entity and curse button, which is actually meant to remove those things. So don't worry, it's not cursing somebody. So when you touch that button, it'll actually remove negative entities or curses from that person. Although the clear orb cleansing button will do a lot of that. This goes deeper. The servitors here for Exorcism, they're very trained to fight black magic and remove demons. Next button is Codams. Codams are angelic helpers. This servitor will provide a whole legion of these angelic helpers to a person to help protect them and cleanse them. So if there are occult problems, you can add that button to actually make it more powerful, make sure any negative forces are removed. Next button, the nuke button, is basically a very strong boost of power. The way this servitor works is takes the energy of a nuclear explosion, but actually makes it more malleable, so you can actually put different programs into it. So whatever you actually put into it will be put out through the power of a nuclear explosion. Similar example, you could put love into it. And to put love there, love nuke, well, love is a good, powerful force to actually help any form of healing. That's one example. Or can also touch other buttons and then touch it to the nuke button. What will happen then is that if I use the clear orb, they get a very powerful cleansing nuke, which will clear all negative forces for them. Same with Exorcism. They've got really strong curses and demons. Use a Exorcism nuke that gives extra power. We then have a forgive self button. This is more than actually forgiving. This service is programmed to actually look for all the causes of shame and guilt in the system. All the program which tells us that we are unworthy, we're not good enough, that we're going to fail, the basic things we're born with, that we're limited. It gets rid of all the roots of shame. So when you use this button, it really clears all shame and guilt and all low self-worth, so the person can actually feel good about themselves and feel worthy of the things they want to achieve. After that, we have a discreate button. As I mentioned before, the discretion talisman. If you're aware of a particular pattern in a person's life that you want to discreate, you simply touch that button while thinking of it. Whether it's a habit they need to release or repeated traumas in life, a constant pattern of failure, constant pattern of loss in love, whatever it is, you touch that button and it'll start discreating that pattern in their consciousness. As I said before, when you release the emotions behind it, you stop creating that problem. So that's powerful healing itself because it stops the negative patterns in a person's life, and which makes them feel much freer. Finally, we have the reconnection to Earth. It's actually very important these days. I found so many people these days, in particular, more than ever before, a lot of the problems are caused by disconnection from the Earth. Strong fields like 5G and HARP seem to be forcing the Earth into a different resonance. It's no longer matching the human frequency. As a result of this, people are not receiving energy from the Earth. The first place that rises is up for kidney meridian. So people disconnect from the Earth, feel ungrounded, weak kidney, and their energy goes down. A lot of people don't know where this is coming from. Once I use that button, it actually strengthens the root into the Earth on a level which bypasses these force resonances to be really in tune with the Earth so they can receive the energy again. To feel energized, more grounded, and also more in touch with nature. These natural forces, these unnatural energies, no longer affecting them, become immune to them. So those are basic healing buttons. Okay, so on the right side of this plate, you also see there's this environment control plate. It works on things like your house, the earth, towers around you, because quite often they're negative energies in the environment that are affecting you, and this can actually work on those. So you touch which of these boxes you want to affect. You can then actually put different frequencies. These are sort of regular frequencies that can be put into those areas to make them better. Also, the box on the right allow you to actually add any other program, mantra, prayer, anything you like, which will then be put into that area. I have some already prepared down here. There are things like Mahamudra mantra, the great death conquering mantra, where actually cleanse the area. Dragon Suit, all these things can actually touch and put them into a box, and that is programmed into the environment. That way, the towers around you now putting out positive frequencies, the earth, the house, whatever is affecting you, now has a positive frequency to actually assist your health rather than put you down. Also, on the top of the plate, you notice there's things for dealing with enemies. There's the enemy button for targeting them. If there's somebody who's harming you, maybe somebody cursing you, bullying you, you can take care of these buttons. You first touch the target button so you know and think of the person who's bothering you. Then there are several actually levels of severity for dealing with them. Sometimes healing a person, you need to deal with the enemy who's actually harming them. So the first button, neutralize and bind. It actually blocks the power, binds them so they can't do harm. That's the first level of defense. If that's not enough, we have astras. These are Vedic weapons mentioned in the Vedas, which were used to destroy negative spiritual forces. They can be quite damaging. They can actually destroy a person's power, destroy their shielding, knock them down. It won't actually kill, but they actually do a lot of harm if they're used against the enemy to make sure they actually stop. If binding is enough, there's levels of destruction. Final button, the destroyers, actually has a load of servitors full of these etheric weapons that will actually basically finish the person. So if somebody's really bothering you and causing you ill health, they need to be stopped. Use those buttons. Over on the left of the chart, we also have a timeline function. This is useful for several reasons. First of all, you find problems in a person's past life, although you're dealing with them here. If you actually then touch upon a past life while touching this button, you focus on that particular past life and actually sending healing directly to that. You can add a new dimension to the healing. You can deal with childhood traumas when a person needs more protection, you can send it back. You can actually send it, destroy enemies from a past life and block the curses there and so on. It changes the whole timeline from that event, which makes a more thorough healing. Also, if you can't actually be available at the right time a person wants healing, you can actually change the time the whole operation works. Like, for instance, I might have somebody who's got a healing in half an hour and I'm going to take an hour to get home. So when I get home, I actually send it back half an hour in the past. And then I do the whole healing and it's happening at that time rather than I'm doing it. You see, you can actually transcend time with this chart. Send it past, present, or future. Also, you notice in the chart, there's a cloaking button at the top end. This is it when you've got enemies dealing with, you want to be cloak yourself so they don't know you're doing it. They can't find where it's coming from. It's very useful to actually cloak your magical operations in these situations. So, you've got versatility here, protection, you can't be harmed as a result of it, and you're going to give a person a very, very thorough healing and solve all their problems. So you see, with this healing chart, it gives you a great deal of versatility to make a very complete healing program for anybody. Once set up, you press the start button, and then it gives an hour's healing session. So at that time, the person should be lying still and receptive because they're going to have very powerful healing. Okay, I want to go a bit further now. Another chart I want to do is called the Eggregore Control Plate. An Eggregore is basically like a group consciousness of a group, like all big corporations have them. A crowd has them. Like when a mob forms, you find the energy of the group can lead a person to do things beyond what they do on their own. Group consciousness takes over and has its own effect. So in the situation of, say, large corporations, been going for a long time, they become fixed in how they work to make money, basically. They probably don't have any morality, so the people affected in that group, they become just as immoral. They're functioning on the Eggregore, controlling in a certain direction, which makes money for the company. They might have all kinds of negative effects. You want to change an Eggregore, use this plate. Whether it's of a company, a corporation, any small group, anybody, whenever there's a group of people, you have to deal with the Eggregore. When you change the Eggregore, all the people in the group change their minds. You can get rid of a lot of problems this way. So there's several ways it works. You touch the middle button when you want to actually focus on a particular Eggregore. The right button is to put commands into the Eggregore. You put new thoughts into it so it takes those on and changes. The left button is to drain it. See, some Eggregores you want to get rid of altogether because they're negative. You want to finish that company, whatever it is, because it's become so negative. You can drain all the energy out of it into something else. So what you have here is an Eggregore button for your own Eggregores. Like, for instance, your business has an Eggregore. Your groups, whatever those sort of social circles, have an Eggregore. And business is a very common one. If you want to take energy out of a corporation, but to your business, it means they fail, your business thrives. So in that case, you touch the Eggregore that you want to drain, touch this button while thinking of your own group or Eggregore or business, and it's set in motion, it starts draining it. That's very useful to actually get rid of corrupt organizations and put the energy into something better. Another plate I'm going to show you is a truth revealing plate. It's a bit faint on this copy, but never mind. It's very simple to use. When you can have 16 targets in it, or 20 targets actually. You only have to touch one little box to each person you want to reveal the truth on, and it sets to work. It actually takes away all deception about them so people see what they actually are. All the lies are seen through. It reveals the truth about anybody. Somebody who worries about that, who's got enemies or corporations are dealing with and want to reveal them, this is the one to use. It'll help you see through false friends. It'll help reveal troublesome people who are lying, help reveal corrupt corporations and governments and so on. Use it in anything. It reveals truth. I want to get to some of the more aggressive stuff now because we have needed this to this age. What I'm going to put here now is the battle station. This is for those who have serious enemies, who might be targeted by large groups. Could be black operations, it could be like big black magic groups, and you're also protecting yourself, and it's never enough. You're constantly being attacked. This is to take out the strong attacks, whole groups. It's created with many servitors, actually legions of them, so it has the power to handle whatever you're dealing with. Notice there's several buttons. It's got for targeting enemies. It's got for targeting yourself, one for protection. So the first thing you do is target protection. Touch that button while thinking of yourself or whoever you want to protect. You then touch them first button on top is the Guardians. There'll be a whole legion of Guardian spirits that'll fend off any attacks and keep you well protected. Then once to start targeting enemies. If you know an individual or a group, you can touch a button. If you don't know the enemies, you press the hidden enemy button and you touch the scouts. You see, these scouts are trained to actually go searching for hidden enemies. They're very good at searching things out and finding them, as well as trained in quantum entanglement, so they can actually entangle that hidden enemy to the box so you actually have influence on them. So if you have hidden enemies, don't know who they are, use the scouts and the hidden enemy button. Once you've got them there, you want to actually act upon them. Buttons down the right side are there to actually for the attacks. First of all, you can actually neutralize their power. A pepper actually voids energy, so they have no power. You destroy their shield, they can't defend themselves. You can send out the vampires to actually drain them. Again, there's a whole legion of those, they'll drain all the power away. Then we have the assault corps, the whole army of aggressive spirits that'll hunt them down with various attack weapons and destroy their power. And the war dragons, which add more power. So you can set all those up, press start, it's set in motion, and it'll last until you press stop until they're all finished. It only has to be set up once and your enemies are finished, basically. You're protected, the enemy's been dealt with, drained, locked, destroyed. So this is a very useful tool for those who are being targeted by large groups and serious occult problems. So one more I want to show you, which is very good for these occult problems, and that's my ultimate exorcism plate. So this one is defensive bottom attacking, but it's to get rid of all the oracle problems. Not only exorcism, but actually reduce demons. It can remove implants, break bindings, remove old karmic problems, generational curses, which actually are much deeper, because sometimes a person has a problem in the family that's been passed down to generations. The normal technique is not removing them. There's a special kind of servitor trained to actually remove generational curses. These unbindings down the right side, you can see other buttons like removing soul pacts, old karmic contracts, and so on. And when we get to this one called Temporal Void, it's very special in that it erases whole timelines. When you use this one, you think you're actually the negative event which started the problem, whether it was a curse or some trauma, but everything since then has gone wrong. So sometimes it's not enough to deal with the curse. You want to remove the whole series of events that have caused problems since then. So when you actually use the timeline erasing function on that and actually think of that event, the whole timeline is erased and it's as if it never happened, all the problems are gone. Though the supernova button is extremely transformative. This when you've actually had enough of all the different problems, you're ready for a major change in your life. The supernova is when a galaxy is destroyed and new one is created. This is major breaking down and rebuilding. When you're ready for a major change in life, you look to these areas and it's time to actually erase all the past and actually set up a new resonance of where you're going to be. Use that button. Also, we have one for actually healing the effects of it all. This deals with the cosmic violation healing. Any evasions you had before and these attacks leave some damage. The cosmic violation healing heals all that. So it's as if it never happened. There's no more damage to the aura. You're totally free. So you set all up, press start, and again, they go for a long healing. It can take time. Always when they're going to be doing healing on somebody, they lie down for an hour to have it. It might take longer, but at least it won't be so intense when they might carry on for days, removing all these problems, but they can function normally. They'll keep working until they're free of all those influences. So you see, the Psionics can affect so many areas.